So it's midnight on the East Coast and 10 p.m. on the West Coast. Where the hell is Von Helton? Huh? Where the bloody hell? Looks like he's a no-show. A no-show, yeah. A no-show. But, you know what they say, the no-show must go on. And go on it will. I'm just keeping my eye open to see if he does go live after midnight. I somehow doubt it, but this Friday night, you never know. What I want to do first is I wanted to focus on Jew. John Jdubs, he's a fake Jew. He's disastrous with Jewish knowledge, history, scripture, anything. Useless. Von Helton knows absolutely nothing. He just makes shit up as he wants to. So therefore, I figure, considering that the two of them have Jew in common, Von Helton hating the Jews, and Jdubs embarrassing us Jews, even though he's not a Jew himself. But what I want to say about Jdubs is that he's gone and taken the worst personalities, the worst teachings, the worst attitudes of the Orthodox Jewish community in New York or wherever, and they're probably disgusting people with terribly myopic vision and irrational views on most anything, and that's who has influenced Jdubs. So whenever you hear him talking Jew stuff, he's got it wrong, let's say. But the first thing I wanted to show you was talking about a Jew who's not doing too good. Okay, we got the Vagabonds, and they're not doing too good, but we got a Jew who's also not doing too good, and his name is Vlad Vexler. There he is. This is Vlad. Now Vlad is a British philosopher, and he's stuck in bed. He has some kind of a brain fluid problem, which disables him through pain and just disability. You can tell he's hooked up to oxygen right there. He probably tried to stand up or something, and it took him 15 seconds, and then he's done for 2 days, kind of thing. That's how ill this man is. But anyway, he is a someone that both John Jdubs and Von Helton can look up to. And look, you don't have your health, you don't have, you're fighting every day to breathe and to live, but still, you keep on doing what you love, and you don't ask anybody for anything. You do it yourself. Listen to him. Here you go.
Hello, very beautiful community. Officials in Putin's regime are ringing economic alarm bells. I've picked out a couple of quotes for us, but I could have picked out many more. Elvira Nabiullina, governor of the Central Bank of Russia, says, "We grew for 2 years at relatively fast tempos because we activated untapped resources, untapped workforce capacity, untapped industrial capacity, new niches that appeared as a result of Western companies leaving, saved resources and investments which we could deploy, spare capital in the banking system. But," quote continues, "we need to understand that these resources are now used up, and we need to think of other ways to grow," end of quote, which really means short of significant restructuring or change, the economy is facing stagnation. Now, let's have a look at Mr. Maxim Reshetnikov, who is Minister of Economic Development. According to our official numbers, quote, we have a cooling, but they just give us, these numbers just give us a rear view impression. Looking at current indicators ongoingly, we're actually on the verge of recession. Now, note when Putin's officials speak, they have to underspeak and they have to under-reference the elephant in the room, which is Putin's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Now, you are fatigued by endless talk about Russia's imminent economic collapse every Tuesday over the last 3 years, on the one hand. So you're experiencing epistemic fatigue because you know that the algorithm is set up to tell you that Russia's economy is collapsing, whether it is or it isn't, and that's because the algorithm knows that you collectively like to hear that. And you have fatigue from having your own wishes over intensely and overly repetitively realized, your wishful thinking wishes. Now, on the other hand, something is very wrong with the Russian economy, and Russian officials are speaking out about it. So how do you balance the two? Well, we're going to do, because I'm actually getting so much correspondence about this, because people want to know how to ground themselves around, is this, a real problem for the Russians right now, or is the story being overblown? We'll do this. Today we'll do just a very short grounding. Number one thing to understand, there's a certain kind of magical thinking involved in the very use of the term economic collapse, because what's largely meant is not economic collapse, but social and political collapse. By economic collapse, people largely mean degradation of state capacity, social upheaval, and destabilization of the regime. So what's actually meant there isn't economic collapse, but a complex relationship that isn't specified between economic reality and perception of economic reality and social, political, state, regime consequences. The ultimate picture, when you're thinking about regime instability, is that three things probably have to be in place. Number one, there has to be a crack in the regime that is of an existential kind. Number two, there has to be social mobilization within the country that is based on a perception of that crack in the top of the regime. And three, there has to be leadership which narrates the crack in the regime and the civic mobilization and tries to guide the civic mobilization accordingly.
Okay, that'll do. That'll do. Thank you, Vlad. I just want to show you that no matter how bad you have it, in this particular case, his health is worse than von Helton's, way worse than von Helton's. And he's still running a YouTube channel. Just to show, and he's a Jew, born in the probably in the Soviet Union, and made his way to ultimately to the UK. But he's not really the one I want to focus on today. Not at all. I was prepared for Jdubs and von Helton. They didn't show up. So on the topic of Judea, let's figure out who the hell are the Jews that you hate so much today. I'm one of them, so if you hate the Jews, you hate me. I'm also a Zionist, so you double hate me. But that's okay. I went to Britannica, and I said, "Open Britannica," and Britannica opened just like that. Now I hope you can see this. Yeah, you should be able to. Okay, so Judea, the southernmost of the three traditional divisions of ancient Palestine. The other two were Galilee in the north and Samaria in the center. No clearly marked boundary divided Judea from Samaria, but the town of Beersheba was traditionally the southernmost limit. The region presents a variety of geographic features, but the real core of Judea was the upper hill country, known as Har Yehuda, ye hills of Judea, extending south from the region of Bethel, at present-day Ramallah, to Beersheba, and including the area of Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and Hebron. Before the Israelite conquest of Palestine, the Canaanites dominated the region, and the town of Hebron was an important center. When the tribes of Israel invaded the country, the tribe of Judah claimed the entire area from just south of the site of Jerusalem into the Negev region, the area south of Beersheba. The tribes of Simeon, Benjamin, and Dan also at one time or another settled some small areas of the region. When David became king of Judah in the 10th century before the Common Era, he captured the old Canaanite Jebusite stronghold, Jerusalem, and made it the capital of the United Kingdom of the tribes of Israel. After the death of David's son, King Solomon, the 10 northern tribes separated from Judah, and Jerusalem remained the capital of the kingdom of Judah, which continued until 587 or 586 before the Common Era, when the Babylonians conquered it and destroyed Jerusalem. Later, however, Persian kings permitted captive Jews to return from Babylonia to their native land and to rebuild their temple and the walls of Jerusalem. After Alexander the Great's conquest of the Middle East, Judah became first under the rule of the Ptolemies and later under that of the Seleucids, or the Seleucids. Opposition to the Seleucid attempt to suppress the Jewish ancestral faith led to the rise of the family of Jewish leaders known as the Maccabees, who gradually drove the Seleucids from the country and set up a revived kingdom of Judea. Family disputes, however, led to Roman intervention in 63 before the Common Era. Under Roman control, Herod the Great was made king of Judea in 37, and later in all of, Herod the Great was made king of Judea in 37 before the Common Era, and later of all Palestine from the year 20 before the Common Era to the year 4 of the Common Era. After Herod's death, the country was ruled alternately by Herod's direct descendants and by Roman procurators. As a result of the Jewish revolt that broke out in 66 of the Common Era, the city of Jerusalem was destroyed in the year 70 of the Common Era. The name Judea is still used to describe approximately the same area in modern Israel. And here's a map. Let's see if it comes up nicely. Yes. Here's a map of Judea, original, from the 10th century before the Common Era. And as you can tell, the region in orange is where all of us Jewish redheads are from. So, if you want to know the origin of the Jews that you like to talk so much about, there it is. In fact, let me just give it its own thing. There we go. There you go. That's where we're from. That's where the Jews are from. The only thing is I want to point out to you as well is we all of us, every single one of us Jews, we want to go back to our land. Now, you might ask, why would you want to go back to what you call our land? Well, let me tell you something. Let me show you our land and tell me if you would not want to go back. Check this out. Check this out, huh? Huh? Who wouldn't want to go back there? It's the land of the Jews. All right. Sydney. You're being silly. You are being silly. Okay. I'll stop. According to my latest update is that no, Jdubs and Von Helton have still not come online. So this will lead me to my final 2 minutes. Somebody else, somebody younger, somebody up to date. Elon Levy. He gets asked a question and he gives an answer. Listen in. It's 2 minutes.
Now, another thing that I want to ask you about, Elon, is that with reference to Judea and Samaria, which is inappropriately, referenced to as the West Bank, because the Western media seems to mostly parrot the same narrative on that. What is the Israeli perspective on Judea and Samaria, including the settlements? What is your side of the story?
We refer to that territory that Israel captured from Jordan in 1967 as Judea and Samaria, because that is its original biblical name. We are not strangers in this land. This is our ancient homeland. The land of Israel is where all the stories of the Bible took place, where in ancient times the Jews had their ancient temples and ancient kingdoms before we began 2,000 years of exile and persecution around the world that ended with our return to our sovereign homeland in 1948. So we call that territory Judea and Samaria because that is where the ancient kingdoms of Israel and Judea existed. Now, around the world, many people call it the West Bank because it's the West Bank of the Jordan River, and they want to emphasize its connection to the Arab world. But for us, that is the ancient heartland, the cradle of Jewish civilization, with places like Hebron and Shiloh and Jericho and places that simply pop out of the text of the Bible. This is the cradle of Jewish civilization, and this is why Israel has a presence there.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our